All right, it is 5:30. Appreciate everybody being here. We're going to go ahead and get started with our pre-meeting for our council meeting that starts at 6. We will have a presentation from the Mental Health Center of North Central Alabama, a construction update that had to do with some ARPA funding. Then we'll move into approval of minutes. June 10th, 2024, 5 p.m. council work session. June 17th, 2024, 9:30 a.m. council work session. June 17th, 2024, 10 a.m. council meeting. There were no changes. Any questions? All right, public hearings. Resolution 24095, approve abatement of unsafe conditions at 425 Vine Street Northwest. Public hearing was set June 3rd, 2024. Okay, no changes. Any questions? Resolution 24132, approve request for off-premise beer and wine license for La Coup La K Caribbean Market at 1000 Beltline Road Southwest, Unit K and L, Decatur, Alabama 35601. Did I pronounce it right? Okay, thanks.
Good answer.
All right, any questions? All right, resolutions. Resolution 24133, accept additional MPO funding for SR 20 US 31 roadway lighting rehabilitation project. No changes. Any questions? Resolution 24102, authorize mayor to execute the attached notice of award and agreement with Shoals Electric Company Incorporated for roadway lighting rehabilitation on SR 20. Any questions? Resolution 24134, approve 2024-2025 HUD action plan.
No changes unless the council has questions.
Any questions? Resolution 24135, accept 5310 grant from Alabama Department of Transportation for 2 transit vans.
No changes unless the council has questions.
Any questions? All right, resolution 24136, approve the Parks and Recreation Board to implement an Adopt a Park program. Any questions? Resolution 24137, approve agreement with Decatur Utilities related to sewer extension for the M&J expansion project.
Yeah, that's just part of the agreement we had previous.
Sewer.
It's about a $98,000 expenditure. This just puts in place an agreement between Decatur Utilities and the City of Decatur, whereby they will, once we have, all the contractors completed the project, they will accept it and we will warranty it for 1 year. If someone ties on to it, we may get some reimbursement for ties onto the sewers. But the idea is for M&J to get the benefit of it.
All right, any questions? Resolution 24139, approve change order for Sutphen fire apparatus for HS 7625. Was that did we add that? I think we did. Can you just tell us what that's for? Just come here and do it. Just come here and do it.
This was just some changes that were made from the previous quote that we received when this apparatus was designed. It was just some things that operationally we would need to make some adjustments.
It had to do with just time frame, something got more expensive or
Yes.
something along those lines. Okay. Any questions? All right, resolution 24140, approve Green Research and Technology LLC Master Services Agreement.
That's what we've talked about for the last several weeks. It's an agreement whereby Green Research and Technology will review Decatur Police Department policies and procedures, review and assess the police department culture, look at a citizens review board, implementation of that, review body camera footage and corresponding police reports except for those items that are in litigation. The reason for that is because somebody else independent will be looking at those. Develop potential policy and procedure recommendations if needed, and then review internal affairs procedures and make recommendations. The idea is what the council's talked about, and Mr. Green and his associates are here. The idea is for them to give us a thorough review of our police department on the island I just described. And they would have until January 1st, 2025 to complete that. The estimated cost is approximately $215,000, and it would come out of the general fund unassigned balance. And that's a general outline of that.
Okay, any questions? Maybe questions during the council meeting. All right, and then boards and committees, appoint Clint Murphy to the Decatur Downtown Redevelopment Authority with term ending June 1st, 2030. And that's a first term.
I would ask that y'all look at the email I sent you on other members that are, two of them have completed terms and there's an additional application.
Okay. All right, any questions on that? All right, we will get started at 6 o'clock. call the meeting to order. Dane Shaw will lead us in our invocation and pledge.
Father, we are grateful for this day just to come to you. We thank you for this great city and the wisdom you give us. We ask you to give us your peace, and may we walk in your strength. In Jesus' name, amen. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, Dane. Roll call. Here. Here.
Here.
Here. All right, first item, we'll have a presentation, the Mental Health Center of North Central Alabama construction update for the crisis residential units.
Thank you so much for having us tonight. My name is Lisa Coleman. I'm the Executive Director for your Community Mental Health Center. We are here to thank you for your dedication and commitment since 2022 to help us construct a 16-bed inpatient secure unit for patients that are committed to the Alabama Department of Mental Health. Although we are not a state department and we are your local community mental health center, we will be certified to operate these beds here in Decatur City. As you know, and I've been speaking, and it's in the newspapers, Medias and Family Speak, these 16 beds are very much needed. Tonight, my words are brief because I'm here for you any day of the week, but tonight we have Chapman and Sisson. They are our architectural group from Huntsville, and they're here to give the presentation on the construction of the building.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Martin Sisson. I'm one of the founders of Chapman Sisson Architects. This is Rachel McKinley, and Rachel's one of our subject matter experts in behavioral health design. So when we first started this project, there's the site plan. This is located along the east side of Highway 31. We spent a lot of time with Lisa and her team understanding how their clients would arrive, what the ingress and egress to the site would look like. So if you look at that, we wanted to make sure that the building was not too out front, might be the way to put that, because this isn't a building that someone drives to. This is a building that law enforcement or an ambulance service would take a committed individual to. So that's why you'll notice that the building is set back from Highway 31. It's actually aligned with the existing outpatient and administration building. So the intent is really to fit the site and help it to blend in. You'll notice on the south side of the site we have the secure entrance and the service yard, and then on the front is parking for family and visitors of the residents. Then on the next slide, the exterior character, we wanted to do something that is fitting with our vernacular architecture here that blends in. It's also a residential statement, so we wanted to make this welcoming. Even though individuals are committed, we did want to make this a very welcoming and humane treatment of a facility. So you look at that, and it doesn't necessarily stand out as a place where somebody would be committed. But the character, very residential-like, very Southern hospitality-like, and so we think that fits in very well.
And if you'll skip ahead one real quick, and I'll come back to that one. So thank you for having us here. Like Martin said, my name's Rachel McKinley. I've been designing healthcare with Chapman Sisson for a little while now, behavioral healthcare, excuse me. And I wanted to point out a couple of things in the design that we brought here. So we wanted to create an approach to the facility that emphasize the security and safety, not just of the staff, but also the patients. So we made an ease of entrance for law enforcement, HEMSI drop-off, and then the arrangement of spaces to escort patients back into the residence. We also incorporated clear lines of sight from staff spaces into the patient spaces so that it feels like a cohesive environment. And if you'll go forward for me. One thing we also wanted to emphasize is while safety is key, we wanted to bring a level of dignity to the patient care model. So the finishes that we chose and the layout that we chose, we tried to lean heavily into a more residential feel. So a lot of the elements that we designed into this, while they have, there's tamper resistance, shatter resistance, we still wanted to bring a level of hospitality. make sure that these patients receive a healing environment for their committed stay. And if you'll go forward one more. We just wanted to highlight a couple of the dates that we have coming up. So the final drawings are set to be released in mid-August. We've got a bid date for September 12th, and then we're projecting the groundbreaking at the end of October. While we don't have a contractor on board yet, we're estimating construction being approximately 14 months, and once we get them on board, we'll be able to confirm. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions from council?
It meets our deadline, doesn't it? Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for being here. All right, we'll move into our agenda. First on the agenda is approval of minutes. We'll take these together.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. McMasters. Second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion? Roll call. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Minutes are approved 4-0. Next we have public hearings. Resolution 24095, approve abatement of unsafe conditions at 425 Vine Street Northwest. Public hearing was set June 3rd, 2024.
Mayor, City Council, Chris Wilbanks, Community Development. This is 425 Vine Street. It's been going an ongoing condemned building for quite a while. It was actually struck by a car in 2009 that damaged the northeast front corner of the building, causing structural damage. It is a commercial building, which would require a drawing. Also requires the homeowner's clause from the state does not apply to a commercial building. So therefore, it would have to be either a prime contractor or he could do it himself using own employees. With this building, we've had several discussions over the years with the owner about redoing it and going through the steps. Currently, it is zoned residential and no longer is grandfathered in to the business zoning that it would need to be a commercial building. We've had no contact with Mr. Robinson since May. I have not received any kind of proposals to fix it, no reviews from any architects, and no drawings on the building. We would ask that we move ahead with the vote on the abatement with the understanding that if these come to light and we're able to get the paperwork we need to fix and rezone and move forward, that we would have the option to back off and not demo the building.
All right, this is a public hearing. We'll open the hearing now. If there's anyone here to speak on this item. All right.
My name is Al Robinson, owner of the building. It is an old building. When I was in the first grade, I went there to buy candy. I'm 78 years old. So that is an old building. That should be one of the reasons why we want to preserve that building. My mind goes back to the time on Bank Street when there were a lot of black business across in front of the old bank building. They're gone. They're gone. Nothing is there now. And it seemed like that we want all of the black business to be gone, destroyed. And if this is the wishes of the court, so be it. But I'm asking this one thing. Give me another 30 days to come up with a plan and talk with the gentleman here about my plans. I have had several meetings with him, and each time that I talked with him, he came up with a different plan. And he knows that I talked with him. I don't know if he's trying to wear me down or wear me out, but that isn't possible. I'm a Vietnam veteran, twice, decorated soldier, and there's no give up on me. No give up. So I'm going to fight until the end. Whether we have the building or don't have the building, I'm still going to be a fighter. Let me bring this out also. Butch Matthews Field. Butch Matthews Field would not be there if my family had not donated the land for Butch Matthews Field to be there. I'm not asking for any handouts, but I want you to go back and remember some of the things that was done. During the time of Tommy Hines, Decatur was on fire. There was a few of us that came to the rescue of Decatur. Integration. There was no big galore over integration. It was handled in a peaceful manner way. The integrating of the buses, Delano Park, and I have something I'd like to bring up too. You're looking at the first person that played tennis on Delano Park, and it was not easy. There were several people on the court at that time. When two of us went on the court, they got off. And there were some guys that came off and challenged us to play. We played, and they came back, and the rest of the people came back and everything. And I said, if we're going to have any problems anywhere, it's going to be the swimming pool. We went to the swimming pool, and there was no problem because we went in a manly way. And this is pretty well all I have to say about that, but I need approximately 30 days to come up with a plan.
All right, thank you, Mr. Robinson. Is there anyone else here to speak on this item? All right, we'll get to it. Seeing no one here to speak, we'll consider the public hearing closed. Do we have a motion or a motion to do something different?
I mean, I'm good with tabling. If 30 days works, I mean, I'm fine with tabling this.
We've certainly done that in the past. I'll support it tonight.
Is that a motion?
Yes, I'll move to table.
We got a motion to table for 30 days.
I'll second.
By Mr. McMaster, second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion? This is table.
Yes, I mean, no, I mean, I'm good with that. I'll just say this. Let's just vote on it and table it and go from there.
All right. Any other discussion? Roll call. Aye.
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 Resolution 24095 is tabled for 30 days, which would be the first council meeting of August.
August the 5th.
That's right. All right, moving to the next one, B, resolution number 24132, approved request for off-premise beer and wine license for La Kay Caribbean Market at 1000 Beltline Road Southwest, Unit K and L, Decatur, Alabama 35601. Emma?
Emma Andrews, Revenue Department. This is a new grocery store. They've already obtained their regular grocery store license, and now they're just obtaining their own license to sell beer and wine.
All right, this is a public hearing. We'll open the public hearing now. If there's anyone here to speak on this item, you can speak now. All right, seeing no one here to speak, we'll consider the public hearing closed.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. McMasters.
Second.
Second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion? Roll call. Aye.
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 Resolution 24132 is approved 4-0. Next is Resolution 24133, accept additional MPO funding for SR 20 US 31 roadway lighting rehabilitation project.
Mayor and Council, Carl Pruitt. This is just accepting some additional MPO funds for our bridge lighting project.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. McMaster, second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion?
This is simply, as you say, put it, we're simply accepting additional funds. Got nothing to do with the project itself.
All right, any other discussion? Roll call. Aye.
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 Resolution 24133 is approved 4-0. Resolution 24102, authorize mayor to execute the attached notice of award and agreement with Shoals Electric Company Incorporated for roadway lighting rehabilitation on SR 20.
We had bid this project several months ago, negotiated with the contractor to get it down to this agreement price, and we'd recommend accepting this bid.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. McMaster, second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion?
I had originally voted to not support this. I think all of us here and anybody who comes across the bridge understands that we need lighting on that bridge. From the beginning, I have always felt that this is a state highway. It's a state project. It should have been funded by the state of Alabama. This is not our responsibility per se to do this, and so I will not support this tonight. I know that we've got funding coming in from different places, but in all actuality, the state should have funded this, and they should have been dealing with all of the funding regarding this.
I would say I agree with that completely. I will support it. I think it's been evident at this point the state has zero intentions of doing that. So I will support it.
I would be in full agreement with both of those. I am going to support it because we were able to offset the cost, and it's desperately needed. I get a lot of complaints about people in my district that are driving to Madison County to work, and especially when the time change happens in the fall, it's pretty dark. I was sitting in a room with the ALDOT director when he said that they would pay for this. And then they said they wouldn't. So it's very frustrating. It is their responsibility, and I wish they would own up to that. But I do feel like this is something we need to do, and I appreciate Dwayne's help in getting the funding where it's not a huge cost to the city. So I will support it.
Well, I'll just say this, I'll add this, and I appreciate you guys working and agreeing with that, but I mean, what good is our legislative delegation if they can't get funding for a crucial project like this? And
So we applied for A-TRIP funding. I think that's what you're making reference to, and it didn't get the votes from the committee.
Yeah. All right, any other discussion? Roll call. Aye.
Aye. No.
Aye.
Resolution 24-102 is approved 3-1. Resolution 24-134 approved 2024-25 HUD action plan.
Alan Stover, Community Development Manager. This is our yearly allocation that we received from HUD. It is $452,615. 20% of that is for administration. 15% goes to public service for youth services or senior programs, and about 4 other programs that we fund, from Project Reach to wheelchair ramps, heat relief. And then the other 2 activities is single-family rehabs. We will subcontract that out, or not, we'll do a subrecipient agreement with CAPNA to do that. They've got a very good program that they've been working, and we did that last year with them, and it was so we're request that we do that again. We're also, as I told you back when we did our CAPER, we're having some issues with our first-time homebuyer assistance program because of the cost of lack of housing, along with just the lack of housing stock. So I'm still working with our field office to try to figure out a way, and that $175,000 is hopefully to increase our allocations that we're doing for first-time home buyers, to give them some other incentives to help offset the cost to make affordable housing available.
I'll make a motion that we accept that.
Motion by Mr. Jackson. Second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion? Roll call. Aye.
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 Resolution 24-134 is approved 4-0. Resolution 24-135, accept 5310 grant from Alabama Department of Transportation for 2 transit vans.
Yes, this is 2 transit vans. One will be wheelchair accessible, the other one will not be. But this will be for our therapeutics program for the Parks and Rec. This is right at $195,000 grant with a $39,000 match. So, and that match will come out of our community development grant match budget.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Mr. McMasters, second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion? Roll call. Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Resolution 24-135 is approved 4-0. Resolution 24-136, approve the Parks and Recreation Board to implement and adopt a park program. Steph?
Mayor, Council, Stephanie McLean, Decatur Park and Rec. Jason spoke last week about the Adopt a Park program. We do have a couple of board members here tonight. They're actually the board is the ones that brought this to us and thought it would be a good program for us to be involved with the Adopt a Park. So we're asking for your support tonight.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. McMasters.
Second.
Second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion?
When I originally heard this, of course, it comes across as a really good idea, but I asked Jason last week about the adopt part, and he said it was like adopt a school. In a school, we come in, we have people mentor our kids, they eat lunch with them, they do all those things. I look at this as something to supplement what we're already doing. And, you know, when you go around and look at some of our parks, some of our parks are not in a good shape. And so, and you can blame it on me the way that I feel, but it's difficult for me to ask for help when I'm not doing the most that I can. And when our citizens are paying their taxes and our tax dollars are going towards our parks, and we got parks that don't look good and aren't well kept, it's difficult for me to go out and ask industry or anybody else to come in and help us when I don't feel that we're doing what we should be doing. So that's where I am.
All right, any other discussion? Roll call. Aye.
Aye.
No.
Aye.
Resolution 24-136 approved 3-1. Resolution 24-137 approve agreement with Decatur Utilities related to sewer extension for the M&J sewer project.
Yes,
Expansion
back
project.
in February, y'all committed approximately $98,000 to extend sewer as an incentive investment for M&J. This fulfills the part with Decatur Utilities whereby we will have it built, they will accept it after a year. It will be their responsibility to maintain. The first year it's ours to maintain the sewer and make sure it's operating correctly. But this is just a continuance of that project.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. McMasters. Second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion? Roll call. Aye.
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 Resolution 24-137 approved 4-0. Resolution 24-139 approved change order for Sutphen fire apparatus for HS 7625.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Nathan Springer with the Fire Department. This is the fire apparatus that was approved a year and a half ago. There were some adjustments needed during the pre-con of this, and this is approval for the funding for that.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Pike.
Second.
Second by Mr. McMasters. Any discussion? Roll call. Aye.
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 Resolution 24-139 is approved 4-0. Resolution 24-140 approved Green Research and Technology LLC Master Services Agreement.
Yes, this moves us forward with the vision that the council and the mayor had as far as a review of the police department, policies and procedures, the current department culture. It also will review Citizen Review Board and those procedures and suggestions on how to form that. Review body cam footage and related documents. They would develop potential policy and procedure recommendations for the police department. And then they would review internal affairs procedures and make recommendations on that. The anticipation is approximately 750 hours that they will devote to this. The project would be finished by January 1st, 2025. Green Research and Technology comes with credentials that give us assurance that they can handle this project and do it timely. They have committed to add enough resources, personnel to do it in the time frame that's been provided. The representatives are here. Mr. Green is, and that's basically fulfills what has been discussed for several weeks, months now to get that in place, that review.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Pike.
Second.
Second by Mr. McMasters, and we did have several people sign up to speak on this item, and I'm just going to go in order. Justin, you were first on the list.
While Justin is coming up, I'll say this. I had conversations with Mr. Green earlier on, and they were fruitful conversations. This would not have happened, though, had Jacob Ladner not grabbed the bull by the horns and said, let's move forward. Kyle Pike joined in and said that he was willing to work with it as well. So I just want to thank you guys for working with this. This is something that I feel is needed for our community. It's needed for our police department, and maybe it will give us a view into how we need to maybe address other departments as well. So I'll
Justin, we'll do our same format for the agenda items we do for public comment. So.
Well, I could not understand him.
Yeah, what are your questions? I'll try.
Did you say it was going to start or end?
End. In January?
Completion.
Completion
It will be completed
is
by January
January.
1st.
And when will it start?
Immediately.
Immediately. Once, if the council approves it, it will begin immediately, yes.
It's sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine.
What we're approving is a contract that would potentially be signed tomorrow by both parties once we approve it, and work would start nearly immediately, I would think, on that. We have to provide them access, some computers that they can use off-site, things like that. It'll take a little bit of time to get that access, but that work will start immediately.
Are there any limitations as far as that they're allowed to access or not?
As far as access, it will be access to pretty much everything. We do have a gag order on a case that can't be reviewed, things like that, but it's wide open. Other than that, those type of things.
Except
That
for
by
anything
law.
with litigation.
Yeah, sorry. Anything we can have to be reviewed by law. We can't break the law.
So are they allowed to talk to any of you guys?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So here, sorry, I'm taking over your time. There should be conversations with us, and I've talked with Tori about that. I expect there will be conversations with some of you, community leaders. There will be conversations with people in our police department. There will be all kind of conversations that happen. This is meant to be as thorough and complete a review as we can possibly do. If you've read about Mobile, which I've talked about a lot in here, it will be much more thorough than that. That was about very specific items that had to do with the use of force. This is how do we police in certain areas and certain type of calls, and it's going to be extremely thorough. It's very fluid. If you looked at the SOW that was part of the agenda, so I think as we get into it, might shift a little bit, right? As we start to review it. Come on, guys, I'm trying to help. But I don't know if that helps you at all.
I think that as far as their access, from my perspective, and what I was looking for throughout, and I think that's what we're going to get, is that anything that they can legally go into. And I think that this agency has a background and they understand where they can go and where they can't go. Anything that they can legally go into, it's open, it's open access to them. I was speaking outside with someone earlier and they said, well, they can't talk to us. That's not true. They can talk to anybody in this room. They can speak to people outside of this room. From my view, it's all about making our police department better. It's all about making our city work and function better. So if that means that we have to have total transparency, then that's what it means for me. And that's what I think this document says.
I would say that's what's expected, but yeah.
Now, if they find, let's say, crimes, who do they report those to, or do they just?
If there's if there's some sort of criminal activity, that would be reported to both the city and who crimes need to be reported to, somebody to investigate that, the DA's office. So, does that answer that?
Yeah. You made me lose my train of thought.
Sorry.
That's fine. No, and did they, if they, like, let's say question you, like, can you sit there and say no?
I'm sure I can, but would not be my intention.
Is that the intention of anybody up here right now?
I would hope not.
Tell the truth on what I can talk about.
I appreciate that. All right, that'll be all. Justice received.
Perfect. Sierra Taylor.
First, I would like to correct something that Mr. Burns said. The mayor had nothing to do with this, so I don't feel like we should give credit where credit is not due. Thank you, Jacob. Thank you, Mr. Pike. Billy Jackson, thank you. The next thing is I definitely feel like this is a hugely necessary thing. I feel like it should have already been done, but I'm glad it's getting done. Because, like, for instance, Renshaw retiring. That is absolutely crazy. He has doxed. He has physically assaulted. He has wrongfully arrested. I mean, the list of his wrongdoings is a mile long, and he retired with nothing because this city found a way to go around it. Hurry up and retire. We see what's happening, but that's okay. The city let him out, but once this is done and it's turned over to the correct people like the DA's office, the criminal charges is going to happen. The lawsuits is going to happen. So I hope Renshaw understands this ain't over and he ain't getting off free. But then there's more. My question is, what about the mayor? Is he going to be part of this investigation? Or are they going to check into him because he's as corrupt as they come?
I think this is specifically around the police department. But I do expect elected officials to be interviewed and us to have a part in it. If you read the Mobile, again, there's a section in there where their mayor was interviewed and city council members.
So what about if they're hiding things for the police department?
Do what?
What about if they're hiding things for the police department? Doesn't that kind of go?
I would certainly hope we would find that.
Because I have no doubt about Tab Bolin and Hunter Pepper at all. They're sitting on secrets that's going to be revealed at some day, whether it be in front of Jesus Christ. You will answer for the lies you're sitting on. And in the meantime, just go away, retire, say bye, walk away, grab Hunter Pepper and Todd Pinion on your way out, and go. You are very disliked in the city. But I appreciate this third-party review, and I hope it reviews things before it gets to Jesus Christ, because the people want answers here too. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Sierra. I've got Derek down. Is he?
He's
not?
probably smoking a cancer stick somewhere.
Okay. Will Landers.
I'd just like to bring up a few things that this state-funded terrorist organization has done in the last 9 months. Chased a minor through multiple cities until he was ran off the road and died. Rest in power, Jaden. Illegally assisted a tow truck driver in stealing Steve's truck and eventually killing him. Rest in power, Steve. Covered up footage of a masked bootlicker destroying the memorial at City Hall and not investigating the damage. Slammed a woman on her head. It's a personal friend of mine too, and gave her a concussion just for stepping on a curb, allegedly. Slammed another woman in the ground, punching her in the face and bragging about it on Facebook. Putting the body cam footage of Steve Perkins' murder on a flash drive and making all cops on duty watch it like it's a show and tell. Arresting an activist with no actual warrant out for him, tasing him on his own bed in the process just to release him the next day. Harassing protesters in front of City Hall despite being asked to leave multiple times. Retiring an officer after he admitted on stand to running multiple Facebook accounts, only naming one, which has harassed, threatened, and doxed local activists. This investigation is long overdue, and I sadly believe a great leap in progress is highly unlikely. Justice delayed is justice denied. All cops are bastards, and all lives can't matter until Black Lives Matter.
Elena Daly.
So I was really skeptical of this third-party review, and I did my research, figured out who Tory Green is and what his background was and everything he's accomplished. I just have a couple of questions. Billy already kind of touched on this. What is y'all's, personally, each of you, your main goal at the end of this? On January 1st, what is your main goal hoping to accomplish?
I'll go first, I guess, but as I said when we first talked about this happening, is clarity on exactly the facts. I've talked to a lot of you, and some of the comments like, "Hey, this is good, but why did it take you so long?" And that is certainly a valid criticism. I will take that one. I'll own it. But what changed for me was the gag order hearing. And the reason it did is because it was facts. It was in the court of law. It was people under oath. So it was neutral. It's not out to get one side or the other. It's just what are the facts. And that is what I hope to get at the end of this is the facts. And when you have the facts, you can, action can follow. So that's what I hope to get.
You know, we've talked about this for months. I don't even really know when the first meeting, I know it came up. I think Bain did a story on it the 1st of November, and there were members of the council then, myself included, that said we should look at doing a comprehensive review. I'm glad that we're finally there. I would expect, very similar to what Mr. Ladner said, a comprehensive look into our department. The policies and procedures, I know we've kind of hit on that. We've had a lot of conversations about that, but the culture, the leadership, how we police, and how we impact the community. At the end of the day, we want to see a better police department. I think this is a necessary tool to help us do that.
I think just to piggyback off of what they said, the facts and the transparency of it, just to get down to the actual facts of what it is and where are some areas for potential improvement, because there's always areas for improvement. I had some hesitancy about this at the beginning, about whether or not it was a full policy and procedure overhaul because of the CALEA certification. Once it became clear what it was, anytime you can have room to improve something, I think we should take it.
So is he going to be going through emails and text messages that these officers are going to be, that they've had?
I think that'll be part of it, yes. I don't know how that works legally, but if it's available under the law,
right,
it will be looked at.
So if they find text messages between him and most of the officers that showed up outside his house, does that mean that?
Potentially, yes.
Okay, just making sure. So reading through his website as well, there's huge things on fraud detection. And I know that everything's under a gag order, but getting the computers and stuff, one can only think, is it really at the end of the day to figure out if the body cam was truly leaked from DPD or the upper command staff?
I do believe that is within the gag order. We could ask the judge and DA, but I don't think that is something that can be looked into legally.
Is he going to be able to find all of the fake accounts supposedly run by Decatur police officers over several social media platforms for investigative purposes?
Potentially, yeah.
Okay. Will Joe Renshaw be included in any of these investigations?
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be, Tori, if I say anything wrong, yell at me, but several 300 plus hours of body camera footage that have nothing to do, like, I'm talking about just regular shift review.
But he's also going to be looking at protest footage.
That's right. There will be specific events as well. So it's both, but there will also be 300 plus hours of just random things that are looked at. So.
Will he and his corporation end up helping the city pursue legal action against officers employed, retired, fired, or suspended over the last 9 months who are in fact to have found violated policy and broken Alabama law?
So what they're going to do is provide us a comprehensive report of all findings.
Okay. Well, I implore Mr. Green to stay for public comment to hear from the community.
All right. Thank you, Elena. I did skip Michelle McCrary. I'm sorry, it was scribbled out and then,
Oh, yes, when I
Okay, so more piggybacking off that brought up more questions. Who determined the 700 and some odd hours?
they did, after we sat down and talked about the scope. I think actually Mr. Jackson had an additional, the first conversation, and it was a little more narrowed in scope, and it was 500, but once we talked a little bit about a broader scope, it went to 750 minimum. That's a minimum number.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then what happens? Like, what is the steps after they're done? Is the public going to be able to see?
Yeah, so they will deliver, again, I'm beating a dead horse, but Mobile is a good example. There was a comprehensive report. If you read that, you'll see things that are redacted in that report by law. They cannot be released, so like a court, you see that in court where things are redacted. As long as it's legal, it will be made public, but it has to be legal for us to do it. We can't break the law. So
Right.
The answer to your question is yes, it will be public.
And if legal, the officers are going to be required to talk to them. Are officers going to be questioned?
Yeah, there will be interviews, yes.
Okay. Because in some cities in Alabama, they were able and advised to say no comment. So,
I believe we will certainly have officers that are, hopefully, my intent is for everybody to get behind this and be supportive. If you think that's just my opinion, if you think you've been wronged, like a lot of you have talked to us about, you want this. If you think things have been said about you that are false, you should get behind this, right? So everybody should be behind this. So I can't think of a good reason why somebody would not be transparent.
okay. And the 300 hours, you said that they were, who's picking those?
So that is like, we've got 3 shifts, different folks. That will be random, and it'll just be looked at different types of calls, things like that. And that's separate from specific incidents that will be looked at.
And when you say random, because we do not trust the people.
They are choosing it.
They're choosing it.
Yes, they have
It's not-
access to all body cam.
Okay, and they'll choose them. And then any complaints that would be criminal by the mayor, like turning on water hose stuff, that kind of stuff, is it only on the police department?
It's
or
only
is
the
it-
police department,
Got it,
so if
okay.
there's, like I said earlier, if there's something that your question was about, if there's something criminal, like any good organization would do, they're going to turn that over to the
They
proper.
see it. Okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
All right. Next, let's see. Cornelius Eccles.
Hey, how y'all doing? I guess, I really don't know where to start because there's so many things I can say about the department, but I guess it's been rough for me. I guess we're gonna start off with I guess there's some people that's leaking. I guess whoever, I don't know who the guy is, but should check y'all emails as well. Because I just got word, I think word that a prosecutor and some other people, I don't want to get no police officers in trouble. I got some friends on the force that told me to be careful a long time ago because the police officers was having emails back and forth about me. But all I do, I stand up for what's right. I read the law. Everybody even know I know the law, a whole lot of it. So I'm just like the police officers. I just don't got a badge on. You know what I'm saying? It's just pretty much the same thing. You know what I mean? I guess from the taking me to jail for littering, you know what I mean? We came in here and told y'all. I know anybody in here can't say nobody's been in jail for littering. I don't know nobody. You know what I mean? But we come and express time after time after time, and I guess now is a good time, but the police system in Decatur, man, it's just all messed up because I should be able to ride around with my firearm all day long. That was somewhat of the email what was about. But after that, after I started standing up and saying stuff, I turn around and get arrested for littering. There's other people that have been, I guess, that's been jabbed at as well. But it's so much stuff I can say. I guess I can have, also, can we have some dates and times from the protesters or whatever to give to whoever doing that so they can have specific times to look at the body camera for the officers that's committing?
Well, they're going to be looking at body camera as they work.
No, I'm not asking you that. I'm talking about we can come up with the day and time like the day the controller got put in handcuffs. We come up with that specific date and time. Can we give it to them?
Well, I think you would want to give that to us if you have something like that. They're going to have their head down working. So if there's something specific,
so we should trust you to give it to them, right?
Yes. If you have, go ahead.
But by the same token, when they interview you, that's an interview between you and them.
Okay.
If you have information to share with them, I mean, I don't think that they're going to say, hey, I don't want this information. So I think Jacob's right. But, when you're interviewing with them, they're not, that's between you and them. We won't be sitting there, I won't be.
Sorry, I misunderstood.
We won't be sitting there listening to the interview when you talk to them. So whatever exchange there is between you and the people who interview you, that's between you and them. So,
I guess, Cornelius, sorry, I misunderstood you, but they are not, and I said this when we first announced we were going to go down this road, is they're not going to be standing out in front of the media probably at all, giving reports. They're going to be working, right? We're hiring them to do a job. They're going to have their head down, going through this stuff. So I misunderstood your question.
Gotcha. That's what I was just saying. Like if we have, like I said, if I specifically have a date and time that a body camera footage can be pulled up, we can give it to them.
Those would be specific incidents we would look at.
I'm just making sure. I guess my last question: did y'all do? All y'all agree with Renshaw retirement? Just a yeah and nay question.
With him retiring, that's something that is done by the state.
It's a yeah and nay. It's a yeah and nay, man.
With the state, we have no oversight.
I said yes or no. Sir.
Yeah, he's allowed to retire. All right, that's everybody I had signed in on this agenda item. I think we do have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Roll call. Aye.
Aye.
Resolution 24-140 is approved 4-0. Boards and committees appoint Clint Murphy to the Decatur Downtown Redevelopment Authority with term ending June 1st, 2030.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Pike. Second. Second by Mr. McMasters. Any discussion? Roll call. Aye.
Aye.
Clint Murphy is appointed to DDRA with a vote of 4-0. Next council work session will be held on July 8th, 2024 at 5 p.m. Next regular council meeting will be held on July 15th, 2024 at 10 a.m. Anything else from department directors? I got you signed in. Yeah. We haven't gotten to public comment yet. Yeah. All right. We will now move into public comments. All right, guys. Same rules. We'll do 3 minutes. I'm going to give you the 4th minute to wrap up, as we've said. First, I'm just going to go down the list. First is, I believe it's Marilla Sears. Sorry, Sears last name. Anybody? Okay. Claudette Owens. Is Dr. Owens?
Well, I think mine's probably a moot point because the mayor has already left. And I wanted to say I've been in and out of town and out of the country, but I just want to state my displeasure as well when I got back and found out that the officer was retired. That was very disappointing, knowing that he had done something to one of my personal church members, Mrs. Catrella Perker, even to our NAACP president. So I have a question that probably you can't answer. My question was going to be along the lines, I've read your policy and procedure in terms of human resources here in Decatur. I want to understand how we process complaints, because there are numerous complaints against these officers and other people that have not been properly processed, and I don't understand that. So if I were an employee, would I even know that somebody has a complaint against me. How long would I understand? As another gentleman just found out he hasn't had a complaint against him since October. So it's really disappointing as a leader to see that our citizens are being treated this way. And to see that we had an officer, again, we talked about an open court. We've heard in court what happened. We've seen in the videos what happened to our citizens, and nothing has been done. And I need to understand how complaints are going to be processed. Can anybody help me? Or I know the human resources person, I can go and visit them, but I wanted to talk to my mayor since he signs everything.
As far as how something from internal affairs gets to HR, I don't know that process.
Herman, correct me if I'm wrong though, but a complaint from a citizen should go through, unfortunately, through our mayor's office.
No, it depends on which department.
I'm sorry, say that again?
All right. It basically starts with the department director. They then, if you have a complaint, what you asked, right? All right. Except for the police department, and I'll share about the police department in just a moment. It goes to the department director. If it depends on the department, if he's got an assistant or whomever, they review it, they develop it, they send it to the legal department for review. Once they've got it, then charges are developed, if that's where we move to, and then it goes to the mayor for his review.
But now,
that
wait a
may
minute.
take several months.
What she asked was this.
All right.
How does a complaint from and I'm assuming you're talking about from a citizen, how does a citizen do a complaint in this city? That goes through the mayor's office.
Depends on the, yeah, it can go to the mayor's office, then he's going to send it to the department.
Okay.
Normally what happens is the human resources department becomes involved at the very beginning also. We have had some complaints that were filed with the human resources department, and then they got in touch with the department.
But if you have a complaint against anybody in, I was looking for
Any
an
city
employee.
employees,
A
police,
community
fire,
development
whatever.
employee. Let's leave the police out of it. Community development, police, fire, anybody. You would call the mayor's office, and then the mayor it would disseminate from there. And that's how it's supposed to happen. Because
Well,
he is.
let me make sure, because I want to be clear. The mayor sits as the reviewer of these items, so it doesn't, he may get the complaint, but, or abbreviated, but
That's right.
he immediately sends it to the right department, because he needs to sit as an impartial reviewer of it.
That's exactly right. I'm not denying that.
No, that's right.
But if
I
it's
make sure that was
initiated,
understood.
it should start, the average citizen's not going to know what department to call. Let's be clear about this. They're not going to know to call a community development director, a planning director, if we had any of those. But the thing is that the average citizen knows that they want to do a complaint. And the mayor's office is there to handle that. If you do that complaint there, then it goes from there out to that department. The department will look at it, and then if it warrants action from that department, it goes back to the mayor as the
And I know there's nothing any of you could do, but let me just say, this is my concern. There's been complaint after complaint after complaint filed for several things. We have not heard anything. We don't know if they're being investigated or not. I wonder if how does each person, whether they work for the fire department or the police, how is it left up to their individual supervisor? Because it looks like to me that rather than an objective way of looking at these things, there's a lot of subjection going in, because some people are being punished while others are not.
So I assume some of the complaints you're talking were filed with the police department. Is that fair?
Well, several, police and other.
But that's one example.
That's one example.
So they are going to look at, Green Research and Technology is going to look at the process with IA and how that's communicated back to citizens and how that's handled and how long it takes and all those details of that process. So that's what they'll look at, is that process. But they're not in garbage. Well, they'll know that.
Well, thank you for taking the question, but it's a bad perception and a bad look. And I am just asking, I know you guys are doing and we appreciate it, we appreciate the review. And I pray that this review at least will get things going when it comes to the police department, but there's other departments that we need to look at as well.
Thanks for that. Sierra.
So I'm going to kind of piggyback off her first is specifically the police department. We filed with internal affairs. Where does it go if he finds wrongdoing? Where does it go next?
I'm sorry.
Like a complaint, if we file it with DeLeon, he finds wrongdoing or whatever, who does it go to next?
De Leon gets a complaint. Where's it go?
Okay, the internal affairs makes a report. It goes to the police chief. The police chief is supposed to be in consultation with the HR department and the legal department so we can help evaluate it. Let me share this. I can't speak for other items, but once the legal department becomes aware of a concern and it comes to us, we're going to do something with it. We're not going to hold back. Now, you can laugh if you want to. I'm telling you my experience, okay? If I don't get it, don't know about it, I can't do
So did you receive anything on Renshaw?
I'm not going to answer that. That's a personnel matter.
That's not personnel, that's not me asking. That's not a personnel question.
All right, let me.
That's me asking you, did you receive a complaint?
I'll answer that. The answer is no.
No. Okay, so there we know where it's going wrong. Internal affairs is where it's going wrong, which I already knew.
Guys, I can't hear Sierra.
Given the fact that internal affairs told my husband he could not have been tased because you've got to remove something and put something else on the taser, which was a lie, I knew that that's where the complaints were going wrong. We all knew that. So my question now is, when this review reveals his wrongdoing, what will he face? What, retirement?
We want the facts, and we can make decisions after that.
Okay, my next question is, I know you guys cannot give me any specifics on personnel matters, but you can tell me, can I expect to have to encounter Jack Brown out on the street?
I don't know, but
Behind a badge?
I don't.
That's not ask. I don't care what happened to him. I just want to know, can I expect to end up having to run into him with a badge on again and chance what happening again because now he's even 10 times madder?
Of course, the police department can answer that better than I can, but I believe the answer is you should not have that.
Okay, that makes me feel a little better. I don't feel safe because he's not the only one like this, but so I don't know. There's so much. So basically, it's going wrong in internal affairs. So is there a way to file complaints without turning them into him then?
I don't, unless you make.
Like, can we skip him? Can we skip him? Can we come in straight to you and give them to you?
We're doing the best we can, but the answer is, in order to do a thorough job, it takes time to do that in internal affairs. Now, we're seeking to have somebody review that. Maybe we can expedite it, but it takes a while. If you're going to do it right, it takes a while to do it. So
Renshaw retiring tells me that nothing was done. He was retired with no disciplinary. He should have, after Third Friday, that man should have been called into an office and said, hey, you directly told your chief no. You handcuffed a woman that should have never been put into handcuffs. You tased a man in the chest. You arrested him for wearing a mask in public with health conditions. You arrested another man for video, in which is his rights to do. Another woman was pushed across the road and ended up suffering all kind of medical issues that day. So with that day causing so much wrongful arrest, emotional damage, physical damage, that man should have never been behind the badge again the next day.
Let me share this. I'm just trying to share what I can. I keep hearing that the city let somebody retire. The city has it's already been said, we have no control over whether you retire or not. You earn that retirement, okay? So that's a decision, a personal decision that they make. We don't have any control over it other than to send the paperwork in.
Okay.
What happened before that, that's another.
Guys, come on.
It's okay. Okay, guys, the internal review is it's gonna get to the bottom of it all, and Renshaw's going to pay. I'm not gonna I will say that every city council meeting. Renshaw is going to pay. He's gonna pay financially, he's gonna pay with charges, and he's gonna pay in every way he can. Believe that.
Thank you. Why? Surprise.
Shocked? No. Timing. Well, to me, just listening to everything, and this is not what I wrote, but just listening to everything, there's a breakdown with our complaint system. Either it's human resources, or either it's the people in the chief of police, some kind of way, because we had how many complaints? 12. Over 50, yeah, sure. And nobody's heard anything, so that lets me know that somebody's hiding something. And who's ever, we need to figure this out. Is it Rochelle hiding it? Is it the mayor hiding it? Is it internal affairs hiding it? Who is hiding this information? Because when a complaint is made, somebody should have been brought into office and we should have been able to talk about this thing. So we have a lot of issues in the city of Decatur. We have a lot of issues going on in our police department, as we all know. Renshaw should have been sat down a long time ago. He should have been written up, but you all hid that. You put it up under the rug or whatever. But then this black man who was in another department, you wanted to demote him. But then this man has put a taser to somebody's chest, and you did nothing about it. So we don't want to. Y'all don't want to say it's a black and white issue, but it's a racist. It is racist because it's other people that I know had to fight for their retirement in other departments. That was at the 24th year, Mr. Herman, and they had to fight for their retirement through the legal system. But here comes this man. Being able to just retire on out so he wouldn't get in trouble. Something has to change with this police culture. Something has to change with this city as a whole. Either Rochelle, Mr. Mayor, I need this information, and if you don't want to send it to me, send it to the pastors. I need to know how many African Americans are employed in this city. I need to know how many Hispanics are employed in this city and how many whites are employed in this city. When you get that information back with me, then we can go legal with it. Thank you.
Elena Daly.
Good job.
Okay, May 23rd, I got an email from Selby DeLeon. Good morning, Miss Daly. I called in an attempt to talk to you about Joe Renshaw. Please give me a call back or come and meet me at your earliest convenience. We emailed back and forth. I had told him that I wanted to speak with the chief of police. Same day, May 23rd, I completely understand where you are coming from. I have forwarded your email to the chief of police, Chief Pinion. Nothing. I brought my copies, kept in touch with him, never got anything back from him. He never told me, what was gonna happen. Told me when to bring my copies. He said if I was to bring them at this certain time and drop them off, either way, he would notify the front desk. Regardless, the investigation would continue to move forward with or without me. Didn't seem like it did. Does it seem like it did to anybody else? Because it didn't for me. Let's go over your police policy 309 like I have before. It outlines your disciplinary procedure. Step 1, verbal reprimand. Step 2, written reprimand. Step 3, recommended demotion. Step 4, recommended suspension. Step 5, recommended termination. None of those say retire. No. Not one. Also in there it states that discipline need not be progressive for situations that the chief of police, who has yet again tucked his tail and run up out of this door, has deemed to be too serious. Meaning, their due process, their fun little games that you have liked to play with this community for months, does not have to happen if there's a chief of police that's worth it and will fire them. That's what that means, in case you were wondering.
Can I answer that?
Go ahead.
So progressive discipline is the list you just read out. It starts with a verbal reprimand, then written. This way in anybody's job that has, is a company, with any company or city. It does not, what you're describing, you can skip the first step and the second step and the third step and recommend termination. There still is the due process of a determination hearing in that process. So you're right, you can skip those. If you have nothing in your file, but then you do something that's a fireable offense, what you're describing is you can skip those steps, but there still is a determination hearing process at the end. So they do still have due process.
But do you see our problem is that the steps are not being made at all?
I understand. I just wanted to clarify. You can't just skip and fire and they're gone immediately. There still is due process no matter what.
Right, and there's still a way where you can fire them one day, their termination hearing is the very next day, and then they are fired that very next day because we watch it happen every single day across this country.
Something along those lines, yes, and I don't disagree with your point.
If the review comes back and says, yeah, well, he's not a good leader, will you replace him?
Absolutely.
Okay,
I'll
great.
make any change that the facts point to, yes.
I filed reports and sent emails between Lieutenant Selby DeLeon and the Internal Affairs Officer, and he seems to have failed to file our reports. We can't seem to get the officers who do wrong to be held accountable. All we hear is about their awards and their accomplishments, not that they were found drunk in their patrol car on duty. Seems like it's because our reports are not being filed. When the Internal Affairs Officer is corrupt, we are all in danger. Drones still follow us around the city when we walk peacefully through it. Cops ride behind us waiting to jump out at any moment. Why do we deserve that? When this all first started, I said something that was very controversial at first, and I was talking about malicious intent. If Steve Perkins did point a gun at the tow truck driver, DPD should not have let the tow truck driver go back to the residence, and they should have knocked on Steve's door to ask, hey, what happened? That's it. Plain and simple. Very easy. But that's not what happened. Why did 4 grown men do something like that? Why do we still have constant harassment still to the protesters? The hate towards us. You might as well have released a shoot to kill order like Mayor Daley did in Chicago after Dr. King died. We just want justice for Steve.
Anissa.
When Steve's memorial was vandalized on Christmas Eve, Captain Archie came to the door and told us that there was a video that he was reviewing and that he would release information of it within the next hour. He released a screenshot of the person vandalizing the memorial. I filed a Freedom of Information Act for the body cam footage, and I've stayed in contact to get an update. I never got an update on who vandalized this memorial. Mind you, Captain Archie told me there was a video. I filed a Freedom of Information request for Renshaw's file. I received it. Now, one complaint was in his file. I emailed Mr. Marks. Mr. Marks did reach out to Rochelle Sandlin. She was on the email thread. She stated that everything was in the file, but nothing, if he was under investigation for anything, that would not be in the file. He's retired now. So, Mr. Marks, I want to know, since you're telling us you haven't received any of his complaints, most likely you're also saying HR hasn't either.
I can't speak for HR.
Okay. So I know we filed copies. We made copies of what we filed, so I know we have them. So basically what we've just learned is that there's some form of organized crime here and conspiracy in play. TAB hasn't done anything. Now we know the reason. Todd hasn't done anything. Now we know the reason. The Internal Affairs officers under a gag order, the entire police department, now we know the reason. So this is what I want to know, McMasters. When January 2nd comes of 2025, will you denounce Todd Penny?
Depends on what Mr. Green finds in his report.
You just found out within 10 minutes that complaints that citizens, some of them in your district, have not been seen, looked over, anything. You want to wait until a comprehensive review is done when you can do it right now, denounce it.
Like
That's showing that he's not, no one's doing their job.
There's different elements on how this works. It could have been.
We know how it works.
It could be an investigative process. It could be an investigative process, so it hadn't made its way to HR or to legal. Isn't that possible?
You just found out within 10 minutes, the city attorney that you all said is the best city attorney in Northern Alabama, who also helped me on the email thread, he made sure I got the information. He just told you that he has not received complaints that we have told y'all we got copies of. We know we found them. Is that not enough for you to denounce Todd Pinion? Because someone is not doing their job under his leadership.
All of the complaints you're inquiring about could be under investigation, and that's why they haven't moved away.
I'm not going to play with him today. So Jacob, go ahead, because I know you want to respond.
No, guys, listen. One of the reasons we included the internal affairs process in the scope of work is because y'all are going to yell at me. I'm trying to listen to your concerns. That's why that's included in the scope of work. So we will get resolution on why these things are happening, and we'll get the facts.
Okay, so let me just say this real quick. Todd and Tab have done nothing in the last 9 months to keep this city safe. What happened September 29th can very well happen again tomorrow. What from today up until January 1st of 2025, if we are filing complaints and we are being proactive and doing what we are supposed to do, who is keeping us safe? So what I'm really saying is that you all need to start applying pressure. You all need to start applying pressure to that mayor. If he is not going to resign, you all need to force him out some way by pay his benefits, do whatever is necessary. It needs to be done. Because I promise you, we've been telling y'all from the beginning what was going to happen to this point. Everything we said has happened.
That's right.
So within the next year, anything is possible. And then what? Y'all weren't prepared for this fallout. Then what?
Thanks, Anissa.
Listen, here's the deal. The investigation, bro, I'm for the investigation. But you're going to have to kill the head of the snake.
That's right.
Huh? You're going to have to kill the head of the snake. That's the head of the snake right there, y'all.
Amen.
You can change all your policies and do all this right here. He got the last word. You understand me? This guy, the guy with the green, he called out all those people that did all these things. And none of them add up to what they did to the fireman. Took him from a lieutenant all the way down to a
Mr.
driver.
Abner, I'm sorry. We do not need, y'all do not need to respond. Rodney can share, but y'all do not respond to a pending personnel matter. That matter will come.
Okay, well I can say it. I can say it.
Go ahead.
But because the public need to know. The mayor did this. But now the Renshaw, he threatened me. Y'all ain't called me. Ain't nobody called me and asked me nothing. Ain't nobody called me and asked me nothing. I filed a real complaint. That's why I see it shake a little bit. I was afraid. I'm still afraid. He a police officer. He got a badge, gun. You understand me? Took a taser and put it to this man hard. And you put him at a desk. But the fireman, the black man with the white wife, you put him in the driver's seat. Lieutenant. Took him all the way down. You understand me? And this man run our city. He's destroying our city, man. He's destroying our city. Let me tell y'all something. You know, we get up here and y'all think we prejudiced because we speak like this, but y'all, I'm not prejudiced. I'm real, though. I'm telling you the truth, man. This gotta stop, y'all. I mean, don't you want your city back, lawyer? You want your city back, don't you? You want your city back, man. Don't you want your city back, man? I want my city back, man. All the little crazy, unnecessary stuff that's going on is crazy. Now, when the man do the investigation, do he give it to the police?
No.
You know what I'm saying? Okay, I'm finna say, because it ain't gonna work. What does he have to do?
Well, then don't worry about it.
Oh, what does he have to do with it? The investigation. The mayor.
Nothing.
Okay. I mean, you gotta ask these questions. Okay, now here's the thing too.
But it ain't happening. It didn't go in the police department, it didn't go in the mayor.
Okay, that's a beautiful thing. Hey, I appreciate it. Y'all give me. And the reason why I said because he did what he said he was gonna do. That's right. That's right, and I respect that. Now, I'm finna sit down. Check this out. Here's the deal. After hearing what you heard, and you still said you backed him.
Danny.
Hey, let me say this for clarity's sake.
Yeah, wait, let Danny have some time.
Danny can come. I mean, take your time, come on. For clarity's sake, though, Lieutenant Jackson was not demoted to driver. He skipped driver and went to firefighter, which is even lower. So you were wrong.
Go ahead, Danny.
How y'all doing?
Good.
So I got a series of questions. I think I got a series of questions that I'm trying to get answered. First, with Renshaw and his retirement, but before retirement, has it been the case that people that have been fired before they were able to get to retirement, are they still able to retire?
Yes.
They are, even
Yes,
if they're
sir.
fired before their time.
I'm going to share, because that's a great question. The RSA, Retirement System of Alabama, you earn your retirement through that system. The city of Decatur does not know that somebody wishes to retire until RSA or that employee shares with us they wish to retire. We don't have any, in fact, it is a violation of law for us to try to interfere or impair their ability to retire if they're eligible. If they're not eligible, RSA will determine that. So yes, they can have all kinds of discipline.
Okay.
They still can retire.
And does RSA, it's RSA, you said?
Yeah, Retirement System of Alabama.
Do they determine, are there protocols and are there requirements for your retirement?
Yes, sir.
I'm just asking, so from my understanding, he didn't have the amount of time to retire.
That would be an RSA determination, not the city of Decatur.
Okay, and another question with that, you give my 10 seconds every time you talk?
I'm stopping it every time.
Okay,
That's
fine. You're asking, I'm trying to answer.
No, I'm trying to make sure I got a bunch of questions.
All right.
So with that being said, when we talk about Renshaw and his disciplinary actions and the other officers that haven't been disciplined and the complaints that haven't been filed, and we've spoken with Todd, we had meetings with Todd, and he's told us one thing, and obviously that's one thing that those things that he's telling us is not what happened. And we've spoken with a few of you about these meetings that we had, and obviously those were lies. We spoke before, and y'all were looking for certain things from Todd. Have y'all gotten any of those answers and or any of the plans that y'all were waiting on to this date?
Very slowly.
Very slowly. All right.
Yeah, so I guess the way I would answer that is I hope that there are things that happen that are positive that happen within the department and led by the chief. My focus is controlling what I can control, and that's getting this third party moving forward and done. So it doesn't really matter to me right now.
So with Mr. Jackson that was demoted as a fireman.
Mr. Lander, we got supposed to discuss.
No. You said I can discuss it. You said they couldn't answer.
I said we should not.
Danny, we will not be able to respond to any of that.
Yeah, okay.
Even if they're hypotheticals.
No hypotheticals.
What if I don't ask you to respond to it?
That's fine.
All right. So
public comment.
So with the mayor being the last person to decide this disciplinary actions for anybody in the city, any department, and the things that were said that were done by Mr. Jackson, if we compare them to the things that were said about Renshaw and or any of the other officers that have complaints, would you guys agree that those are equal punishments for what they've been accused of doing?
What I will say is I don't know that any of us know the details of this particular investigation we're talking about, but if an appeal is filed, and I don't know if it has or hasn't, all of that will be public.
Hasn't an appeal been filed?
Yes.
Yes.
So all of that
Well,
will,
all
there
be
will,
public, is what I'm trying to.
yeah, that will literally be in a meeting like this, an appeal hearing, where
It'll be before the personnel board, which is made up of citizens. There are no city employees or officials on that board.
so that'll all be public.
Gotcha,
Every
gotcha.
detail of that.
So,
With witnesses, all those things.
All right, I just wanted to make sure I knew the answer to that. So moving on to another topic, how long has Airbnb rentals are illegal in Decatur?
It's kind of a interesting topic. So we only
Well,
would
short-term
allow,
rentals.
we would only allow long-term rentals, which by, I believe, state law says 6 months long. Although, as most of you know, if you rent, you can go month to month. Sometimes it's a very difficult thing to enforce, but you're right. Technically, you're not allowed to have an Airbnb in the city.
And will we agree that Tab had an Airbnb rental in the back of his house for several months?
As far as I know, yes.
All right, okay. So
I believe that was Russell.
So, with that being said, there are allegations that the person that was living in Tab's Airbnb was selling drugs out of Tab's Airbnb while he was staying there and paying Tab rent. With that being said, the person that, when they found out that Tab was having an illegal Airbnb and evicted or maybe they got moved. He was arrested a week later on drug charges, and he is currently in jail right now on those same charges, which means the Decatur police and everyone else knew, because it takes longer than a week to develop a case about somebody. And would that be correct? The assumption?
It's my assumption, but they're obviously very hypothetical.
So what I'm getting at is, would you agree that either the police department and or Tab knew that there was a drug dealer staying in his Airbnb rental, allegedly? Would that be an assumption that everyone would be able to come to an agreement on? Somebody knew because he was arrested less than a week later. Once again, our mayor is corrupt and does not care, and we have to figure it out. Thank you.
Thanks, Danny. Will Landers.
I'm just going to read some of the vague, threatening comments and messages I've received from mostly anonymous accounts these last few months. I see your punk ass having a few problems with the cops, end quote. This was during the third Friday when Renshaw pulled a taser on a man who had his hands behind his back. He's got people who are rightfully out for his red fluid, end quote. Seriously, this guy needs to catch a few rounds. No threat. I just love to watch, end quote. Why is it always the people who claim to hate the police the first ones to call them when something happens to them? Like, if I pistol whipped you, I know you would call the cops, end quote. I ain't the only person that thinks this way, too. This guy's from Moulton, Alabama. If you got a problem with it, then I guess you're going to have to deal with it, end quote. Yet if I post, as an American citizen exercising my Second Amendment right, my AR-15, these fake accounts will screenshot it and post it in a Facebook group with 4,000 members that I'm blocked from, tagging the police department and saying I'm somehow threatening these state-funded terrorists. These fake accounts stalk and harass many local activists like this. It's not just me. Meanwhile, one of those state-funded terrorists admitted on stand to using a fake Facebook account to harass, dox, and threaten activists, yet still got full retirement. One bragged about physically punching a woman in the face. A couple of them tackled a woman to the ground and gave her a concussion. One killed 2 black people in 2 weeks. We've already established that slavery is still legal as a form of punishment for a crime and disproportionately targets black people. John Brown once said, "I don't think the people of the slave state will ever consider the subject of slavery in its true light till some other argument is resorted to other than moral persuasion." With that being said, people are really worried about out-of-state activists possibly showing up and burning down buildings. Buildings are meant to be built and rebuilt. It's why they're called buildings. No, it can't be replaced or rebuilt, though. The lives these state-funded terrorists continue to unjustly take. I will say it again. All cops are bastards, and all lives can't matter until Black Lives Matter.
Christy Love.
Good evening.
Evening.
First, I want to say that it's really sad that when the media covers Renshaw's retirement, that the picture they put along with it is the one with his taser up to the guy's chest. Right. That's just really sad. That's not what I wanted to share. Some of you don't know that before I became Dr. Love that I was a rapper and a poet. So I wrote an acrostic using Justice for Steve Perkins that I'd like to share with you guys today. Justice for Steve Perkins, unwavering, standing on business, toppling corrupt government and police mess. I, officer such and such, do solemnly swear to protect the brotherhood, not the other hoods, because their actions demonstrate the Constitution is misunderstood. Everybody, wake up, wake up, wake up, Decatur. Friend, it's hard to shake your hand when your foot is on our necks, or you fail to put rogue officers like Renshaw in check. September 23rd, around 1:30 a.m., the tow truck driver initiated the evil plan. Even though God's will brought us such enormous pain, the very thing the enemy meant for bad has been turned around for our gain. Exposing the mayor, police chief, Hunter Pepper, to name a few, Steve's eternal flashlight became the floodlight to provide the perfect view. You can't stop the revolution. You can, however, thank us for providing the solution. We're kinfolk now, bound by innocent blood, like Christ is Steve. No justice, no peace.
Kaylin Hasty. Okay. Sarah Mucoletti.
My name is Sarah Coletti from Huntsville. I just want to say thank y'all for your transparency, because before I moved to Huntsville, I was told it was different, that it wasn't racist, that it wasn't bigoted, that, you know, as a marginalized person, that I would be okay in Huntsville. And after living there 20 years, I find that those people were all liars. But y'all make it really obvious that the city is incredibly racist, from, I mean, the entire city being behind the cover-up of the murder of Steve Perkins, and like nobody even noticed that y'all killed a 16-year-old boy until the community stands up for Steve Perkins. And it's Steve Perkins people that are coming to get justice for Jaden. I mean, your mayor leaves before your people get to speak to him. Like, y'all are really, really being transparent here that you do not care about your citizens. And I mean, it's disgusting. It's really disgusting and terrifying and dystopian, but at least we don't feel lied to. At least we know that when we come to Decatur, it doesn't matter how young or how well known or how beloved we are in the community, or even if we're famous. It doesn't matter. You come to Decatur, if you don't look like this, if you don't have this amount of money, you're not safe. You're not welcome. And, I mean, I appreciate that. I do. But at the same time, I would really prefer that I could come to Decatur and see my friends and family and feel safe. You know, I would prefer that the people I know that live here didn't get followed home by the police just because they're taking advantage of their First Amendment rights. I would prefer to not have to call my friends that are coming in Decatur and be like, I need you to tell me when you're home safely, because I don't know that the police won't kill you or put you in jail or hold you in jail for weeks on bogus charges. So if y'all want to have the kind of city where you can invite a diverse friend and family group here so that they can feel safe, I need y'all to listen to these people. Because being transparent, it's all right, but actually being a welcoming city that people want to visit, that people can visit safely, so much better. Thank y'all.
Cornelius Eccles.
I don't know. I got so much to talk about. My mind keep going blank every time. I guess from the stuff that I heard earlier, I guess Mayor. I guess I'm gonna start with another analogy that I was taught when I was younger, when I was a kid. Everything bases in life that grows up in life, like an ant, a bird, or anything, automatically knows what to do when it gets here. It doesn't have to be taught, right? Right, you can agree with that? So when you see somebody doing wrong, when we come at you and tell you multiple times, over and over and over, that this individual is doing something, like the complaints didn't just, Casper didn't come take it. You know what I mean? They were there. You know what I'm saying? They're not making it to where they need to get. So if I was in any other position, you know what I mean, with the city or anything, and someone kept complaining, or you see videos of somebody doing something, you would fire me? Wouldn't you?
If there were.
So with that being said, it's easily known, especially when I seen the mayor with George Wallace in the picture. And I'm pretty sure everybody know who George Wallace is. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of evident. You know what I mean? Exactly what's going on. But I guess all the stuff, and then like when I came in here and told you about the First Amendment, I guess for instance, Mr. Lloyd, is obstructing a secondary crime?
I'm not going to take up your time. Just go ahead.
No, I'm fine with that. I don't mind. When an officer charges you with obstruction of government operations, is that a secondary crime?
That is a misdemeanor, yes.
But it's a secondary crime, right? That means a crime has to be committed before that crime can be instituted, correct? But we got a lot of people getting locked up for obstruction, sir. So with that being said, with that lawyer verifying that, they're letting you know that the officers are locking people up just for silly charges, for bullcrap charges. That's a secondary crime. Resisting arrest without being arrested in the first place is a false crime, Mr. Ladner. I'm talking about there's no other evidence needed, but you know what I mean? I'm just saying that if it's brought to your attention and you still go the opposite way, there's nothing else to be said. It just shows what side of the field that you own. Ain't no disrespect, because I like to see my enemy straight up forward and, you know what I'm saying, honest. I like to know where you stand. Because if I don't like you, I'm going to tell you I don't like you. But some people scared and they hide behind other stuff and tell you to your face, or they try to hide. You know what I mean? Like, I'll try to play like they don't like you. But I'm a man. I'm going to tell you I don't like you to your face. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of the people up here, like that person right there, he ain't gonna tell you that. He gonna hide behind it. You know what I'm saying? That's a coward and a racist. It's pretty much plain and simple. But I'm glad these people here, man. I'm glad. I guess all our prayers been answered, because somebody going to jail.
Thanks, Cornelius. Russell Harper.
Hi, my name's Russ Harper. I'm on a different subject than this, so I can speak later if you want me to.
Go ahead.
I'm a vendor at your farmer's market, and I really feel unsafe that they're moving us from a paved parking lot into an unpaved parking lot. We have a lot of elderly clients, or not clients, but customers that come to us on wheelchairs or walkers. Maybe 15% of the people that come to your farmer's market are now going to be on a gravel parking lot behind a restaurant. When I was asked, I asked one of the members of the boards why we're moving the farmer's market with 1 week's notice in the middle of the season, after the people have finally found where we are in this parking lot. They're going to have to spend weeks finding us again. And as a vendor, I'm disabled. I don't have good feeling in my feet from, well, I won't go into that, but when I asked why we were moving, I was told one of the restaurants close to the parking lot had complained about us taking their parking. When I walked around to the front of the restaurant, they're not even open during the hours that the farmer's market is open. The other reason that we were told we were moving was someone complained about having to pay for the porta potty. The vendors would be glad to pay an extra $1 or $2 for the porta potty if that's a big issue. But we were given 1 week's notice, and we were told if we decided to stay in that public parking lot, we would have to get a state business license, a city business license, because the farm board, or the farmers market board, which is appointed by you, can move the farmers market anytime they feel like it. We were given 1 week's notice, and you can't get all these licenses in 1 week. To me, I'm a very small, I have a half-acre garden, and my partner and I drive from Scottsboro over here because my partner is a Decatur resident, and she likes to shop in your city. We spend at least a third of the money that we make at the farmers market in Decatur. But none of the vendors, I went and talked to every vendor there, and no vendor would say that they were in favor of moving to this unpaved parking lot, or we weren't consulted about it at all. And the only recourse that we had is to come and speak to you. We have no recourse as far as having any control over this board that you appoint. So I won't be coming, I'm the only vendor with organic vegetables at your market, and I won't be back this year because I don't feel safe, and I don't want to see my customers, I don't want to see these people falling in this unpaved parking lot.
Thank you, Mr. Harper. We just hit 4 minutes. I do have one question about that, Herman. Is the board structure a state?
It's a state charter, and it's jointly appointed by the city and the county. There's 2 city appointments, there's 2 county appointments, and then one that switches between the 2.
Okay, I'm sorry, I did not know.
Yeah, no, it's just to
Thank you
I've taken enough of your time.
Let me ask
Thank
you something. I mean,
and I do appreciate the
wait a minute.
customers.
Wait a minute before you leave. I mean, this is a discussion. I mean, why are they having to leave?
Kyle may.
The board has indicated it'll generate foot traffic.
For one
and
restaurant.
And new customers.
I mean,
I'm not,
Let me say this. I garden too. My turnip greens are burning up right now. They're dying. My tomatoes are catching the devil because of so much heat. So I kind of know what you're going through. So I mean, it's a limited time frame that we have to sell, and I understand that. So I mean, we have the authority, do we not, Herman, to allow them to stay at that place? Do we not?
Okay, I don't know all the, you've got to have the correct licenses because now you're not under the umbrella of the farmer's market. But yes, the answer is there is what is called a public space usage committee. Here at the City Hall, you can file a request, fill out the information. You're going to have liability insurance because the farmer's market had that insurance. But now you're individual. But the answer is that you can go to the 5th floor of City Hall and file, there's a form to fill out. It doesn't cost you anything to fill it out. And they will review it and make a determination that you may very well can stay there if you meet the criteria within that. But one of them is you must have liability insurance to protect the city.
I guess.
License. But yeah,
my thing
you can stay there.
My thing is he didn't understand when I said my turnip greens are burning up. He didn't, and I know yours are too. And time, if we have to go through an entire process like that, it's time.
Shouldn't take more than a day.
Okay. Then
To get a state business license and a city business license.
He's just talking about the public space.
This is a part-time.
And you're moving when? When's your notice to move? You have to move by?
Saturday was our last day at that market. We are told to be moved by next Saturday, we will be in this new space.
And we had
And
some.
I won't be back to your market. You will have no one with organic vegetables.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm sorry,
again,
the citizens of Decatur have been very good to us.
yeah, I was across the street the other day and I saw the mayor, or Tab over there, the other day buying some stuff from you. And so, again, everybody knows where you are now. I think it'd be difficult for you and half of our citizens to figure out where you moved to. I mean, I know there was an article in the newspaper. Everybody doesn't read the newspaper. It was difficult probably for them to find you in the first place. I would just like to find a way how we can, for us to expedite this and make sure that, I mean, again, I understand the seasonal aspect of this.
Yes.
So I would like to find a
We're
way
simply
how
not
we.
going to be back this
Yeah.
year. We hope we will be welcome next year at your new farmer's market.
Of course you will be.
We've been
but-
here for 2.5 years. I drive all the way from Jackson County.
Yeah.
My partner in this venture is a Decatur resident.
Yeah, I've heard
And I
that.
spend, at least a third of what I make here.
I would like to figure out a way how we can, I mean, again, how we can have a solution here where they can stay where they are. I mean, I just think that, I mean, to me, in the middle of it, again, most people don't know what it takes to make a garden. I'm sorry, but I've always done that. And so I understand kind of what you're going through. But I would like to figure out how we can have a solution, Herman, as to leave them there. I mean,
The only thing we can't control, and you know this, is the state license. You can get, if you meet the criteria, you can get the permission and the city license in one day.
Yes, but I was also told I would have to have a state license.
That's what I said, I can't control that part.
Yes.
Can't you
They, but we were given 1 week's notice. And it was told to me in a retaliatory way. I actually felt threatened. And so I'm not coming back to Decatur.
Yeah, I know. Let me say this, and Herman remembers this and none of these other guys do, but Mayor Fowler used to always say, don't tell me why we can't do it, tell me how we can do it. And I'm not speaking to you, I'm not speaking to you.
There is no reason you could not have 2 farmers markets in the city of Decatur.
Well, I don't know.
Would make more sense to have them all at one location.
Yeah, it would. But
It's going to be split either way because.
From what I've heard, you're correct.
Have said
There are going to
the
be
big farmers are going to stay where they are because they're protected by state law. They don't have to have a business license to sell produce. I sell baked goods and produce, so I would have to have multiple licenses.
Is there a way for you to operate under their license on a subcontract type basis? That way you kind of get away from
The board is being totally uncooperative.
Herman, I think our.
no, go ahead.
Our next speaker's on the same topic, so
Yes.
if we can, Carol, if you want to come.
Is there?
Yeah,
I am grateful for the city of Decatur. The people here have been great buying our product. My girlfriend bakes on Friday and we come over here and sell it on Saturday.
Let me ask you this. Okay, I mean, while Carol is coming up, Herman, is there a way? Is there a way for you to meet with you or Tab to meet with these people? I mean, and try to figure out so that the council can act. I generally don't do this.
The council doesn't have to act. What I'm sharing with you, if they go to the 5th floor Public Space Usage Committee, fill out the form, they can approve it that day.
Okay.
And then they can get a business license from the city that day. I just don't have any control over the state license.
Yeah, go ahead, Carol.
It's just not right.
Thank you so much for being here and listening. As a near daily customer of our wonderful farmer market for the past 30-plus years, I was very surprised to read of the board's decision to disrupt the season this year at the height of our farmers' production by making them move to a location on private property behind a restaurant on Bank Street several blocks away. I was dismayed to learn that the decision was made by the board with no input from our farmers and vendors, all of whom do not want to leave the temporary location across the street and around the corner from the site of our farmers market while waiting for construction to be completed. This has been a difficult year for our vendors and farmers. The board provided no signage at the old location directing folks to the temporary location or at the new location to clearly designate the site as our farmers market at First and Grant in a temporary place. To make them move here at the height of season to a gravel parking lot on private property behind a newly opened restaurant on Bank Street is really a slap in the face. It is my hope that three things can happen. Number one, that the farmers can be allowed to finish the season where they are on city property, and I thank you all for working towards that. And that they be allowed to remain there in that site until construction is complete at the new site, no matter how long it takes, because we don't know that it will be ready by the time farmers market comes around next year.
It's expected the beginning of the year next year.
Right. The second one to me is very important, that the city council and the county commission will be very diligent when appointing members to the board to include folks who understand the importance of communication with their vendors and farmers, because it's essential. It is essential. And number three, I would really like to see a permanent description on the Morgan County Decatur Farmers Market page, board page, that very clearly outlines and delineates the responsibilities of their governing board. And if you cannot include a farmer or a vendor on the board, then I would recommend that there be a provision made officially to put a liaison that would be responsible for communicating with the vendors and the
That's
farmers.
actually why I asked about the board structure, if we could add, but it sounds like we can't, but we have as you've seen, we have a hard time filling board positions. So I hope things like this get more people to apply.
Well, that's why I'm standing here, Mr. Ladner. So I do hope that we do have people to apply.
Yeah.
And we need people who understand the fact that our farmers, our Morgan County agriculture is very important. That farmers market is one of the best in the state. And it has been for a long, long time. And I appreciate your work on it. And I appreciate your diligence in helping us happen.
Can I ask you a quick?
I do not hear very well, Mr. Marks. I will tell you, I'm sorry. So speak up.
Okay. Have we talked to the board? Have you talked to the board? Has anybody else?
Yes, I
asked
have.
them not to change locations?
I'm sorry?
Yeah.
I think that has definitely been communicated to the board.
Oh,
What was their answer? Apparently no.
They're still moving forward.
The response was that they did not need input from vendors, farmers. That was the response from the board.
Chuck, sorry.
Again, that's why I'm here.
Thank you. I'll see what we can do.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Not signed yet. Pastor Franklin.
Why they can't stay in that location? I don't know why grandma walking on gravel. That's stupid. I don't understand why they can't stay in their own place. Y'all just do stupid stuff.
Let me say to council, to this public. Now, I'm here purposely to speak out against all the frustration and irritation that's caused by not answering the complaints in a timely manner. And I want you to know that even though it has caused frustrations and irritations from my people, the public, but it hasn't stopped the Steve Perkins movement. And I'm here to tell you that It hasn't stopped it, and what it gives to us is the will to keep fighting. Yes, sir. The last 8 to 9 months, we've had a heap of long nights. Many of our people have been jailed. Many of them have been beaten up. Many of them have been followed by police. We have been denied information. And I just want to ask a question, 1 or 2 questions, maybe 3. Is it not the council's crucial role in this local government to represent the interests of every citizen in making decisions on behalf of our community?
Yes.
Yes. Why is that good? I know that the council is responsible for public hearings because that's what we're going through right now. And in this public hearing, we are gathering input, supposed to be gathering input from the residents on the important issues that we are confronted with in this city. Now, I want to ask you, is the Steve Perkins Justice for Steve Perkins, is that important to you?
It's everything I've heard for 9 months is very important.
It's important.
Yes.
So is the voices of the people concerned in this city, even their opinions that they have, do you take those things under consideration when you make your policies, write policies or proposals?
Absolutely, yes. But people have different views of every issue, and it makes it hard. You're never going to get everybody on board.
But you do take that you take under consideration
Listen to everybody.
Their opinions.
In fact, and I'll pause you, one of the most frustrating things for me is the insinuation that I don't care or don't listen.
That's not what I'm
saying.
saying.
I'm not saying you are, but people have said that, and it's untrue. And I think the people who have had personal one-on-one conversations with me, which is a lot of you sitting out there, do know that I care. It might not go exactly the speed or the way everyone wants it, but I absolutely care, and I think the people that have gotten to know me that I didn't know before this would agree with that. So.
Well, I'm not saying that you don't care, but Malcolm X says, this is what he says. He says, the victim, which are the people, the council turns around and says that you are being victimized instead of the people being victimized. So this is what you're saying to me. It's not that you don't care.
No, I do care.
But Malcolm X said again that you attack the victim and turn around and say that the victim attacked you.
You can ask folks that have had conversations with me yourself, and I won't.
Well, this is the last thing I want to ask, right? And then I go. Do you have the city council has the authority to legislate, create legislation that affects city officials, including the mayor, in participation in community issues?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Do this city council has the authority to create legislation that affect city officials, including the mayor of this city?
I don't know of anything like you're describing.
You don't know of anything that I'm describing?
Does anybody else? No, I don't know.
We can create legislation that...
You can create legislation...
Well, no, that, not for the mayor. Not for the mayor.
It can be.
Not in our system of government, not in how we were chartered.
You can make laws on everything in this city, create laws on everything in this city, except laws that calls for a mayor to participate in these issues that he should be concerned with. We sit here and we watch him leave every time it comes to public discussion. You don't have a law that requires, you cannot create a law that requires the participation of every official and the mayor.
Here's the deal. As disgusted as you are about this, I am probably more disgusted at his leaving than you are. I have to work with this man, and so to say that you're disgusted, I agree with that.
Well, you shouldn't have to legislate people to do the right thing.
That's exactly right. But I'm in total agreement with that. But as far as, Herman, you correct me if I'm wrong, but as far as I know, there is no law that we can make to force him to sit here. We can't make him resign. We can't do anything like that. If we could, well, let me say this. I can't speak for anybody else up here. If I could, I would propose that.
Do you not think, let me ask you this question, do you not think that legislation laws regarding to city officials, including the mayor, should participate in these meetings? Don't that show accountability?
Yes, and I think most
why,
people have said that.
Why would we sit here and let him leave and not be accountable?
Because we cannot make it.
This ward, to these people who he is supposed to be accountable to this ward. He listened to everybody else all over this city, and you don't hold him accountable to my people.
We have tried, and I think that's
legislate.
We cannot. We just told you we cannot legislate that. We absolutely. He should do the right thing, and he should be here, and that's been said for months. But we cannot legislate him to do the right thing.
You're playing games with us by telling us that you cannot legislate laws when you can legislate laws, when you can write laws.
I'll tell you what. Provide the law for me, and then we'll look at it. Provide the law. You're saying that wait a minute. You're saying that we can do it.
Yeah.
I've told you if there's a way for us to do it, I'll present it.
You know how simple it is?
But there's no way to do it.
Let me tell you how.
Okay, tell me how to do it.
Let me tell you. It's simple because it's your job and your responsibility to legislate laws.
So you're saying we can legislate any law we choose to?
On behalf of this city and the interests of this people.
That's not true.
All right. Let me share this, and I understand. The mayor's duties are prescribed by state law. The council's duties are prescribed by state law. We only have the authority which the state provides us. There is no authority, to our knowledge, unless you can provide it, allows this council to require the attendance of the mayor at anything, or do any of his duties.
So you cannot create an ordinance.
No, sir.
You cannot.
You cannot.
Well, you did on the tow truck drive.
Yeah.
But
That's
you wrote an ordinance.
different.
How's it a difference?
Well, listen.
The community was interested in that, just like they're interested in the city Perkins. You created an ordinance. Why can't you do the same thing for him
Well,
to
I just
stay here?
answered it. There is no authority under the state law.
Yeah, you got it.
There's no authority
You got
under the state law. We only have the authority which the state.
You don't have no, let me say this and I'm gonna be through. You don't have any authority to conduct the rules and regulations and procedures according to this city?
We cannot supersede state law. Simple
You
as that.
cannot establish rules
We can establish rules.
of conduct?
Of conduct.
Why not?
Not for him.
Yes, you can.
Okay.
You bang the gavel when we are
Provide me with the law.
bang the gavel when we're out of order.
Hey, provide me with the law and I'll do it.
Do what?
Provide me with the law and I'll do
Well,
it.
we'll just see if we can't come up with a
let's do that.
lawsuit that never make you do it.
That doesn't bother me either.
Justin.
Is that firm that's doing the investigating and stuff? I know you guys said they couldn't like investigate certain things or whatever, but I mean, are they able to work in conjunction with the criminal investigation going on across the street, or like, and they can?
If it has anything to do with that particular case that's in the gag order, they cannot by law.
What about the murder trial?
That is within the gag order ruling.
they cannot investigate anything that transpired beforehand.
If it could potentially be presented in that case, no. And that's not anything we have control of. It's judge and mainly judge that decides on that.
Well, that's a shame.
Thanks, Justin.
What is, she was here to, yeah, come forward. And she was asking me how to, and I got you.
Hi, I'm Marilyn Champion with Champion Farms, and I'm here basically with the other vendors that, since I've been going to the market, I've been there since day one. And my mother started going there, and that's how I started, and I have been, it's a long time that we have been at that market. That market has meant a lot to us. And when it got torn down, I hated it, but I knew they were going to build a new market. So fine, then we get this other parking lot. We just didn't have the signs. We was promised signs, or said they said they wasn't going to put the signs up because they weren't going to get up in the morning and put them up. So then we offered to put them up. Then they said, no, we don't have the money for the signs. So that was it. So I paid for advertising for myself, and they did, I think, did a weekend advertising. So, but like the other gentleman said, 3 weeks ago I found out that they're going to move us. And we just basically established our customers there. I just want to be able to stay there, and along with the other farmers that's there. We don't want to move to Bank Street behind 609. So that's all. That's what I'm trying to get at. I mean, the ones that wants to move over there, and basically I was told by the board, if I wanted to stay there, I could stay there. I did not have to move with them. So that's all I want to do is stay there, finish my season out, and that's it.
I think, were you here earlier when
Yeah, and we spoke last week,
And we-
and she came up, you came up to City Hall that day, I believe, or
yes.
shortly after, and she met and walked through some of those steps.
And right, and you had told me that if I needed to speak with someone on the 5th floor about the city, you know.
The public usage permit.
Yes, that if I could stay there. And I was told that I would just need to get a temporary occupancy permit. Because I'm a farmer, I don't have to get the license or any of that. So that's all I was just trying to get at, is that we get permission to stay there. And
I can't promise you we can get results, but we're going to focus on trying to get you and this other people some relief, okay? I can't promise you, but that will be my focus in the morning.
okay, that's all we got.
Thank you. Michelle?
I'm sorry, I thought he was the last one. Usually is. He usually is. Huh? He usually is. Okay.
Okay, so apparently Todd Pinion, can't even remember any names, I'm getting tired, so said people have been fired, someone's been arrested, what else do they want? So here's some things we want. We want Steve back. Well, can't do that. Little girl there wants Steve back. So what else can we get? And I know, like you said, you promised, and there, you know, we're gonna have somebody looking at this. What I can't figure out is if people are doing their First Amendment right and someone goes rogue, meaning the police go rogue on different things, how is it so easy then the next week we come, because people come in here and say they were what we consider snipers, whatever you guys want to call them, but there were snipers watching us. That's what we call them. That's what it feels like. And being followed. Now, this past Friday, we were followed by a lot of undercover cops, but at least 2 I mean, we sometimes have young kids, at least to the young kids, they're not watching police officers road by road block us or follow us or whatever it is they do. How can that easily be changed if there's not a problem? So that's one. Like, there has to be some consistency. So I hope they figure out why, and hope they look at emails and say, bother them this week, lay off of them this week, hey, you went too far that week. And again, we're doing the same stuff we've been doing, is asking for justice for this family. Now, I'm not saying you guys don't care, but we have each other's backs. This is now my new family. I would, like, I literally take a bullet for you guys, and they have changed my life. I've done this in other cities. I'm not an outsider though, so I'm not one of those people. I live just up the road in Huntsville, and I work in Decatur. So, but I didn't know Steve, and I didn't know a lot of these people. And if this city, no matter what these people online are saying, wanted the city to burn down, it would have already done it. It would have already done it. And there's no threat there. They would have already done it. Like these people they love this city. They don't want it to burn down. But we're not, and I think this was said last week, so I apologize. Don't want to hear it again. We can't keep true outsiders out for so long. There's only so many times we can say, no, we got it. No, we got it. Because these people behind me have been very clear. Because to a lot of them, I was an outsider. Because it's 30 minutes up the road, right? And now I've heard stories of 20-year-olds got a car, closing, got a new car, was pulled over every single day. I've heard from moms where their black and brown sons were chased from work to home. I mean, so listening to the community, I'm not saying you're not, but I really hope that their scope goes out into the community to talk to people and puts like an ask out, because just sitting and talking and listening, like I have fallen in love with Decatur like more than I thought I ever would, even with just working here. So, and justice for Steve.
Thank you. Billy Kennedy.
My problem is with Renshaw, Officer Renshaw. When he handcuffed Petrilla and he had the stun gun on the guy's chest, and we came to the department and we filled out, I know, at least 12 to 14 complaints. And we heard nothing about that. And the fact that I talked to Pinion, the Chief Pinion, and he said that it was under investigation. So I'm trying to figure out, how was that under investigation when they have given this man an early retirement? Just like you said, RSA told him it was time to retire. I've never heard of that before.
No, listen.
That's what you said. You said.
No, I said that he has to apply. The RSA determines whether he's eligible or not. That's what I said.
You have to apply with RSA.
Right, okay. Well, what's the age? What's the age to retire?
Depends on how many years of service you have.
Okay, you have to do 25 years, right?
There's an age for firefighters and police officers.
I'm saying police officer, the age to retire.
It depends on the years of service.
24 years.
That's possible with some additional.
Oh, they give him some additional time.
Credit, yeah.
Okay, so that way they gave him what he needed.
But they determined, once again.
Okay, they gave him what he needed to retire. That's okay.
He applied and they said he was eligible.
Yeah, okay. So the mayor gave him the extra months or whatever he needed to retire. So we haven't heard anything from the complaints. And you just said that they hadn't went anywhere. So
No, I didn't say that. I said, I was.
They haven't made it to you.
And I know there was complaints out there, but I don't know about them. They had not come to us.
Okay. Well, when he handcuffed Catrilla and left her daughter standing there, and he was on just a wild goose chase out there. I mean, everybody's seen it. And the people that he arrested, so Mr. Mosley and Diggs, that he was just grabbing people. So what's gonna happen with those people? I mean, would y'all retire him early?
We
I know
did
he's
not.
your boy. He's your boy.
We didn't retire him, but if there were criminal acts done, those would still need to be investigated. As far as the time frame, he could have come in he could have come in the next day and retired. Again, that's an RSA.
Yeah, right.
decision,
Okay. But I'm speaking of Mr. Moses and Miss Diggs that he harassed and they took him to jail for nothing. I mean, so they gonna have to go to court with that.
If there's criminal complaint, then that would need to take the legal course.
Wouldn't he have to testify?
It really would be no different. Yeah, I mean, if there's
Yeah, that's what I'm
if there's a
saying.
trial, yeah. I mean, but
So-
it would really be no different than if he didn't retire. The only difference is then there would be an investigation about his employment.
Okay, but would he have to come back and be in court for that?
If it's criminal, yes.
Well, it wasn't anything criminal right there.
No, on his side.
Oh.
I thought that's what you were saying.
No, I was saying from Mr. Moses and Miss Diggs that they arrested them for,
We can't fire him, right?
Well, yeah,
or have any
they
internal
have to
discipline.
take-
So anything outside of that is handled in the courts.
And let me say this, Bruce, and I probably shouldn't, but it is what it is. Jacob is right. We can't fire him, and he did have the right to apply for retirement. But in reality, we've heard tonight how things that are egregious enough can be expedited, and that termination can be expedited. I don't think that there should have been enough time allowed for him to get a month or so off. He should have been fired that Monday following that Friday. That's my opinion.
There's a due process.
I mean, there's due process, and we've covered that earlier. That, I mean, the chief could have brought it forth, and the determination hearing could have been set, and it should have happened. But it should have been it should have gone quickly. He should have been dealt with in some manner that Monday.
Exactly, and the chief told us 3 weeks later that we investigated. Well, it's just a lie.
I mean, back in high school, we used to run 4 corners.
Yeah.
It was a stall. Okay.
That's it.
Michael Gaylor.
Start off with justice for Steve. All right. I've been absent for a long while, but I've watched, and it's despicable. From attitudes to balling up of the faces. I've seen you just unsnap your glasses and start yelling at a female and stern looks. He can't unball his face, but he can get up and leave. All this, y'all, hey, y'all think y'all stressed out? Y'all think y'all stressed out? Like for real, y'all tired of hearing us? Right? I am being so for real. Because me, I look here, I don't conform to nothing. So y'all playing these little games with people, that's the problem. But see, the problem is people have forgotten, and I'm gonna bring this back up because this is one of my first speaking points, was the Constitution. The Constitution was put in place to give the people the power to remove folks that can't do what they need to do for y'all by any means necessary. That's why you got the right to bear arms. They didn't give you the right to bear arms just to go hunt. To protect yourself and to remove tyrannical government officials by any means necessary. That ain't a threat.
What do you mean by that?
Listen to me. That ain't a threat. I'm
right,
telling
be real
you.
careful.
I'm telling you what it was made for.
That's true.
Point blank. So states can hide behind state laws, state whatever. But guess what? What overrides all that? What overrides it?
Constitution.
All right. So before they slap these badges and guns on I'm gonna say about 85 to 90% of them are slime. Like Carl Winslow said, I don't see how it sticks to you when it's pinned to slime. And why do I bring that up? Because that day, it goes back. It keeps going back, but we keep repeating the insanity. If you keep repeating things when you get the same result and you keep doing it over and over again, it's insanity. So to keep coming up here and asking people to do this stuff for you and do this stuff, look here, at some point in time, we're going to have to do it for ourselves. You're going to have to stop being scared. Because I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not the one for a cop to be following me, thinking that they're about to put their hands on me, a taser, any of that. Because I'm telling you right now, if that would have been me at Third Friday would have had a whole different outcome. But that's the type of stuff you really don't want in your neighborhood when you're trying to build it up. You're trying to recover from a situation that could have been avoided, but you have slime that keeps throwing gas on the fire. If I steal from my job, you think they're gonna take the time to do, oh, he did so good for these many weeks, and he did so good for this many years, and I think he just had a mental break, and he just decided to put something in his pocket, and no, they would fire me. So there's no litigation that needs to be, or there's nothing that needs to be prolonged with somebody not doing their job properly. Question, are police immune from stand your ground rights? Because Alabama's a stand your ground state, right?
Herman, you
Are
want to tell?
police officers, now listen to me. Are police officers immune from that? That means they can just do whatever they want to willy-nilly without even considering, hey, this person.
Police officers have to follow the law. That's what you're
I'm not.
Mr. Gaylor,
that ain't what I asked you. I asked you.
We're well over time. If you can wrap up your point.
Stand your ground. Stand your ground. My life's in danger. And because this person has a badge and a gun, I'm supposed to bow down to him?
No, but we
All
are.
right.
Just wrap
Y'all
up.
say no, right? So if something was to happen to your precious police, are you going to give that same person the immunity for protecting their life? Because you have some crazy person with a badge and a gun that thinks that they are above the law.
Thank you for your comments, but we're well over time, and we're going to adjourn the meeting. Thank you.
Question.